Weird sciencey facts that boggle my mind. We've got crabs, and we're lucky we do. I'm talking about horseshoe crabs, which technically aren't crabs at all. They are most closely related to arachnids, like spiders, ticks, and scorpions. And they are true living fossils. They have been around pretty much unchanged for 440 million years. That makes them older than dinosaurs, by a lot. Nearly 200 million years older than dinosaurs. In fact, they are nearly 100 million years older than trees. But hey, sometimes things just work, and the original model seems to be the best, and according to evolution, that seems to be the case with the horseshoe crab. And being that they've been around so long, they're an incredibly integral part of coastal ecosystems in America and Asia. They encourage biodiversity, they keep silty areas fertile, they lay millions of eggs that are an important food source for countless species. Their shells even serve as a micro-ecosystem for sponges and snails and other small organisms. But they're also incredibly important to humans, not only as a food source, as they're commonly eaten in Asia, and a food source for food sources because they're commonly used as bait, but they're also crucial to modern science and medicine. Now, if you're into alien conspiracies and you were looking for alien life forms on Earth, most people go with the octopus, and for good reason, I could see why. But if you really wanted to argue that there's extraterrestrial life living among us, with the exception of Ted Cruz, I think it would be hard to argue that there's a better candidate than the horseshoe crab. Let's be real, that thing from Alien that jumps on people's faces kind of looks like a naked horseshoe crab. And I'm sure you heard the saying, we all bleed red. You know what it means, rich or poor, black or white, gay or straight, human or animal, you cut us, we all bleed red, so we're all pretty much the same. You've seen it from mice to whales, from fish to reptiles. You get cut, they all bleed the same. But not horseshoe crabs. Their blood is bright fucking blue. Google it. Doesn't even remotely look natural. And it's this otherworldly blood that makes them so crucial to science and medicine. Because their blood contains special immune cells that are really sensitive to toxic bacteria and does this thing where it gels around any toxic bacteria it finds and encases it to protect the horseshoe crab from getting sick. Why they're the only things that have these special immune cells? I don't know. Maybe the aliens planted them here because H.G. Wells said in War of the Worlds that the aliens would be defeated by bacteria, and they got offended that they're like, you think that we can master intergalactic warfare but would be dumb enough to be beaten by a single-celled organism? Bitch, please. I don't know. Just a theory. But if that does happen and they use horseshoe crabs to not die from bacteria and defeat us, I'm blaming you, H.G. Wells. Anyway, sorry, off track. Their blood is incredibly useful because of those immune cells to test vaccines for harmful bacteria. Much of modern medicine, and vaccines especially, would not be possible without the blood of horseshoe crabs. You might be asking, where do they get all this horseshoe crab blood? Did they catch them, and then they take a little bit of blood out of them, and then they let them go? Yeah, it's kind of weird. You'd think it'd be something that they would just farm, but they don't. This is what they do, and it's even weirder that we've got no idea how many horseshoe crabs survive the process. And then you may be wondering, what effect does this have on horseshoe crab populations? And that's a good question, because we don't know. And though horseshoe crabs in the United States are listed as vulnerable, they are not endangered. And there's been numerous conservation efforts in the past few years that have increased to protect them. Sadly, however, the case is not the same in Asia. And of the 4 living species of horseshoe crabs, 3 of them only live in Asia. They've become locally extinct in Taiwan, and their numbers have decreased by an estimated 90% throughout Asia. However, them being exploited for science and medicine is only a tiny fraction of the issue. Human consumption, using them for bait, and pollution are all considerable factors. However, rising sea levels and human construction in their breeding grounds are the biggest factor to their population decreasing. On the bright side, we have found ways to make synthetic versions of what's in horseshoe crab blood that we need for these tests, and that has been approved for use in various countries and will hopefully continue to expand. That could help relieve some pressure on the species, and hopefully with other efforts we'll start increasing horseshoe crab populations around the globe. But the fact the prehistoric living water Roombas that have magic blue blood that has saved countless lives are a thing that actually exists, well, that is pretty mind-boggling.